So, two really big pieces of news for the Chicago Bears just came out this afternoon, and I want to share them with you. And the first one is from Mr. Adam Schefter. And the guy is usually almost always right. And he's sharing a news about our new stadium. And he's saying that the Chicago Bears are expected to announce a new stadium being built in Arlington Heights, Illinois, due to a trusted source. And also, Ian Rappaport, he's sharing another piece of news. It looks like Trey Smith is off the market. The Chiefs are planning to franchise tag star guard Trey Smith. Sources are saying it's a done deal, and KC is going to apply the franchise tag to this prize free agent. Everyone was attaching him to the Chicago Bears. I really wanted him on our team, but it looks like Kansas City is putting themselves in a situation that they're going to pay for one of its best players north of $23 million, and that's a 1-year fully guaranteed deal. And we can talk about whether that's wise or not. But the main thing to talk about is if this is actually good news for the Chicago Bears. I think it actually is, in a way that now Chicago is not going to be bidding for this player. And in order to get him, in order to bring Trey Smith into town, we are looking at probably paying north of $25 million. A lot of conversation, a lot of thoughts on whether the juice is actually worth the squeeze for that. Now that he's off the market, we are saved from that. Now we have resources that can be allocated in so many different ways. We've got 80 plus million in cap space. And once we have some more cuts, that might end up being closer to 100 million. Man, that's a lot of money. Chicago Bears now sit at number 4 in cap space, flush with draft picks, flush with draft capital. And I want to take a kind of do an exercise here so no one panics. There is so much meat on the bone in the draft and in free agency here. And I think actually Chicago can actually end up coming out actually better with this player being off the market. So with Trey Smith being off the market, we can look at some veteran options. There's no guarantee that the Ravens are going to bring back just a stalwart left tackle in Ronnie Staley, multiple times a Pro Bowler. He could be a guy that the Bears could bring in and still be relatively economical as far as price. I'm not really into Alaric Jackson from the Rams. He's a tackle and he's had some flashes, but I don't think that works so well with Coleman Shelton taking a guy from there. The guy I want to focus on, this definitely opens up the coffers for center Drew Dahlman. And sure, he's coming off an ankle injury last year, but PFF has graded him consistently as the NFL's number 4 center. Atlanta doesn't have the cap room for him, and probably he can come into Chicago for just a little more than $10 million a year. Fantastic solution for our center position. I don't want to bring in a rookie to hold that position down. There's just such a transition for a rookie to really get acclimated to the pro game, the speed of it, reading coverages. We need a good veteran there. And Drew Dahlman at 26 years old is a perfect alternative. And you can say that he's not quite as strong in pass protection as he is in run blocking, but he is a solid center. If you put him on a competent line, everybody makes everyone better, right? The guy that I'm really excited about, and he's just really coming on my radar now, that's talking about Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles guard Mekhi Becton. So why is he a good choice? Because you can say, Sean, this guy was an absolute mess, an absolute bust with the Jets for 4 years. But guess what happened when he came to Philadelphia? He ended up being underneath a stud line coach in Jeff Stoutland, just a fantastic coach. And man, did he whip this offensive line into shape. And when he came to the Eagles, only 25 years old, they're like, hey, you are 6'7", 363 pounds. It's not working out as tackle. Let's move you in at guard. Once they moved him in at guard, the guy just absolutely flourished. And I think he'd be a fantastic option for the Bears to bring into town. And word is he's likely going to be available on the open market. And then we've got kind of a couple other intriguing choices. We've got Cam Robinson from the Vikings. We've got Kevin Zeitler, The guard from the Lions, he is a veteran, so familiar with Ben Johnson. He could slide right in at guard, hold it down solidly. The Bears can definitely afford to pay him. He's going to be cheap as a veteran, and he is a guy that could really hold down the position while we bring in somebody that we drafted so they can kind of ease in or for injury protection. Also, as well as Becton, the guy that I'm really hot on is Will Fries, and he's a guard from the Colts. Coming off a major injury, the guy broke his leg. Word is he's going to be ready for this upcoming year, and the guy doesn't have a history of injury problems. In 2023, he played the whole year, and he has become one of the premier guards in the whole NFL. He was graded as PFF's number 4 guard just before the injury. The guy's going to come at a pretty good, he's going to come in at a pretty good discount. I think we can get him for 12 to 14 million to fill a guard spot. And man, the guy is technically sound. I think he's a stud. If he is ready to go for the season and he passes his physicals, I definitely think that he's a guy that the Bears could target. Also, we've got free agency. We've got Tyler Booker, a pure guard out of Alabama, who would be absolutely fantastic. I don't think Will Campbell, probably the best offensive lineman in the draft, I don't think he's going to be there when we pick 10th. But man, you've got Josh Simmons out of Ohio State in the draft. You've got Kelvin Banks Jr. And then we're also looking at guys like Membu out of Missouri. I might have said the name wrong. I get everyone's name wrong. Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. North Dakota State has been just pushing out linemen that are pro ready. And the guy really balled out at the Senior Bowl this year, really started making a name for himself. He is a perfect alternative. And you guys, I want you to tell me in the comments, is this actually a great thing? The Bears are flush with so much salary cap space. Does this free us up to spend away on the offensive line, get multiple blue chip choices, not only in free agency, but also in the draft? And this might actually open this team up to some possibilities at defensive end or even at defensive tackle. I mean, does this bring Myles Garrett back into the mix? I would say not, because I don't want to trade the draft capital that would require. But look at Cincinnati Bengals Trey Hendrickson. We can probably get him into town for a day 3 pick. They can't afford to pay him now. Trying to keep T. Higgins, they're going to tag him. They're going to have a crazy payroll for these top 2 wide receivers. Trey Hendrickson is likely going to be available. And looking at the low 20s to pay for him, the guy's an absolute beast. We can afford to bring him in now and also bring in the right guys at offensive line to actually fix this. And now, Kevin Warren is a guy that gets stuff done. His reputation is that you only mess with him for so long. Once he puts his foot in the sand and pivots, he gets it done, and he gets it done well. I think City Hall in Chicago, I think they played with him for way too long, being way too resistant. I would have liked to see a stadium on the waterfront. I think the Chicago Bears belong in downtown Chicago, and it just would have been a picturesque site, even on the old hospital site. But if Adam Schefter is right, and he usually is, it looks like we're going to be building a stadium in Arlington Heights. And if you remember back, the track at Arlington Heights was like an iconic place. I don't know a ton about the neighborhood as far as how a big stadium like a Bears stadium would be facilitated, but it looks like all of the differences with the city councils and with taxes have been resolved. And we might be looking at a brand new stadium. And that's a really exciting thing. You guys let me know what you think. Are both of these things positives? Trey Smith no longer being available and we can spend our capital elsewhere. And also a stadium for the Chicago Bears, not actually in Chicago. Can we handle that? So you guys bear down. Thank you so much for always watching. And I will keep you posted with Chicago Bears news on the daily. See ya.